Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you personally contacted every client that you helped last year? Not a mass email, not a birthday card that went out automatically. I mean, you or somebody on your team actually checked in and asked, how are things going? Is everything working okay for you? Now, if you had to stop and think about the answer to that question, then today's training is specifically for you. Because Medicare mistake number 3 is having no retention strategy. And here's what happens when you don't have a retention strategy. You will help a client to enroll, you move them on to the next sale, and then another agent comes up during AEP and becomes the person that starts to work with that client because that's the person that they remember. They haven't seen you since the time you actually did the enrollment. You did the work, you earned the trust, but because you disappeared, somebody else collected the relationship. So today, I'm giving you a simple 90-day follow-up system to help you serve clients better, protect your book of business, and create more opportunities for referrals. Everybody got your seatbelts buckled? Are you ready? Let's do it. Let's do this thing. Let's really get it done. So welcome back to the 4-part series on the mistakes that can damage a Medicare agent's business. In video 1, of course, we talked about selling the wrong plan to the right customer and how that could lead to unhappy clients, unhappy customers, complaints, and of course, chargebacks. And then in video 2, we talked about enrollment period mistakes, confusing AEP with OEP and IEP and SCP, or promising an enrollment option before actually verifying that the customer has eligibility for that particular enrollment period. Today, we're talking about what happens after the sale. Getting the customer is not the end of the relationship. It's really the beginning of the relationship. So I want to be careful with my language here. Retention is not about trapping a client in a plan. It's not about putting them in something and then forgetting about them. Often I tell my customers, plans change annually. This is not like for till death do you part. You might have to change your plan, so let's make sure that we review and we stay in touch. It's not about discouraging someone from making a plan change when there's a different option that can fit them better. And I mean, things in their lives change. So obviously, there may be another plan that may work better for them the next year. Retention means building a relationship strong enough that your customer knows who to call when they have a question, or who to call when something bothers them, who to call, who to reach out to, and how to reach you when there's something that they just don't feel is right, or they've heard something that might be better for them. Retention means reviewing coverage properly. It means helping your customer to understand the plan, the benefits. It means being available for your customer when they need service. And if the best option for the client is a different plan, then you do what is best for the client. Do what's best for your customer. Guide them to where they need to go. And that will be the best for your business. This is what a real retention strategy looks like. It starts like this. Why a client might leave you, there are usually four reasons. One is no contact after the enrollment. The customer is confused about what the plan actually does, and the plan changes. They may have had something one year and then something changes. No annual review, no insistence that the customer does an annual Medicare review, and reactive service only. In other words, you are only going to react if they call you. So why do these customers leave? Most of the time, it's because when they wake up in the morning and decide that they have something going on wrong, they want somebody who can really take care of it, and they want to feel like they can call you, you're going to hear them, and you're going to try to help them. Sometimes the customer is just confused about a bill. They may be confused about a prescription, how it's covered, and they may not even be able to pronounce the prescription, but they could be confused when the pharmacist says, you will have to pay $1,700 for this prescription. They don't understand why. They may be confused about a network question. Why is now this doctor saying they don't take the plan when 3 months ago they did? They may not know that you're the person, which they should know because it's your responsibility to make sure that they know that you're the person that they should be calling with anything that bothers them. Now, your client may say, I never heard from my agent. Haven't you met people and you said to them, well, you've had this plan for 5 years now, and the plans with this company have changed. Did you hear from anyone who wrote the plan for you? And you've heard people say, no, I've never heard from that man before. I've never heard from that woman before. I've never heard from them since they came and did the plan. So that sentence alone is very painful because the customer is saying to you that there is something wrong, there's something wrong right now, but they haven't heard from anybody. Remember this, take note of this, write this down. A customer can appreciate the plan and still leave you if the relationship is not maintained. Now, another reason that customers might leave is because they just don't understand what changed, and they don't understand why. So plans change from year to year, premiums change, benefits change, networks change, formularies change, cost sharing changes. So this is why the ANOC is such an important piece in your annual Medicare review. When your client gets that notice and they don't understand it, please reach out to them and explain to them what the changes are. Then they can make a decision if they can live with those changes for the coming year or if they want to look at something different. There's one other reason that a customer might leave when they've been with an agent for a while, and that is if every message from you says it's time to review your plan, the client or the customer might feel like, well, you are only calling because you want to change the plan because commissions are involved. You have to keep constant, persistent follow-up. And that's why follow-up is so important in maintaining the relationship. I want to talk to you about that 90-day system that I mentioned earlier. Let's kind of build it. So I call it 90-day follow-up, but it's actually post-enrollment. It gives you 4 planned contact points after the enrollment. So day 1 is the enrollment follow-up. So you're going to do your due diligence. When you complete the application, you're going to let the customer know what to expect. That's the first one, the first of the 4. The second is 30 days later, you're going to do a service check. In that service check, you're going to find out, did they get their card? Did they call their primary care doctor? If they had to change doctors, have they already taken care of that? Have they gotten a new appointment? Are they using the preferred pharmacies? Do they know who the preferred pharmacies are? It's a service checkup, but it's also an opportunity for you to say to them the continuation of a conversation you may have had when you were doing the enrollment for Medicare. Remember, I said to you that I had something that I could show you that might help you with some of that cost sharing within your plan? Can we set an appointment to kind of follow up on that? That's where you can start that cross-selling conversation. Now, that's at the 30-day point. Then at the 60-day point, send them something educational. Let them know what the statistics say about who has heart attacks, why heart attacks occur, what are the symptoms of a stroke, why they should be using the gym, what's the advantage of exercise, anything that's going to be educational at the 60-day point is what you can use as your touch for your customer. Now, some people do this using a newsletter, which is good because it still keeps you in touch with the customer. Then there's the fourth one, and that's the 90-day. And that's when you are actually renewing your relationship. You're renewing the relationship with the customer. You're getting referrals from the customer. You're asking if everything's going well. You're making sure that everything's going well. You're following up on anything that they've told you during the 30-day or the 60-day follow-up. So good service prevents those small problems from becoming large complaints. And once you finish with a Medicare service conversation and the customer's questions have been handled, then you can certainly transition into anything else that you feel you want to discuss with that customer. This is the opportunity where you're building a relationship. This is the opportunity where you're really keeping in touch with what you heard them say during those conversations. But now, if you don't have those conversations, you're not going to have anything to follow up on, right? Does that make sense? So don't assume that what was the customer's interest when you first met them or when you wrote the application from day zero, that's going to be the same thing that's going on throughout their lives that whole year. Things with you change during the year. So why wouldn't things change with the customer? Confirm that they still want to talk to you about what their thoughts are. Confirm that they still want to be with you. You are a resource. You're not a salesperson. You are a resource to your customer. And every step of this 90-day process helps you to build the relationship and not lose your customer. So when you're talking to the customer, you don't want to fill in silence. Don't rush, don't interrupt them, listen to them. Now, sometimes you're going to get people who love to talk, and they're going to tell you the story from kindergarten all the way through college, but you will know how to control that conversation. Let the customer explain what they are experiencing. Let the customer tell you what has come up and what's come about. And if you don't know the answers to what they're asking you, don't try to fluff it. Just be yourself and say, you know what? I haven't had that question. I don't know that answer, but that's a good question. Well, let me try to find the answer and get back to you. Now you got another opportunity to follow up with them. When you are talking to your customer in these follow-ups, you are building not just a relationship, you're doing a professional job. You are an insurance professional. So when you're talking to your customer, there are a couple of things that you don't want to say. Things like, I'm just checking in That is so weak. That's so lame. That's one of the weakest follow-up phrases in the business. I'm just checking in. Why? Because it doesn't tell the customer at all why you're calling or what value you're going to bring in the conversation. It's just weak. So don't start the conversation with that. Instead, give a purpose. Hi, this is my 30-day follow-up with you, and I'm just calling to make sure that you've gotten your plan materials, you know how the plan works. Is it working okay for you? Don't make the assumption that it is, and don't make the assumption that it isn't. Ask the question. Do just as you would have done if they were new prospects. Ask questions. And then at the end of a successful service conversation, you might say something like, well, I'm glad things are going so well for you. If you have a family member, a friend, a neighbor, a classmate, or someone who was confused about Medicare, or if you heard someone say something that really didn't sound like something that you had heard from me, so it might not be completely correct, do me a favor. Would you ask them to give me a call? Because I'd be willing to answer questions for them as well. So that's a respectful way of asking for a referral. You're not pressuring the customer. You're not, insisting that they tell you everybody that they know, but you're getting them thinking because they talk to people. Yes, they do think they talk to people. So has everybody got that now? Do you understand where we're going with this? So let me just pause here and say to you that if you haven't gotten your roadmap to pre-AEP success, and of course, AEP is a timed occurrence. It's October 15th to December 7th. Pre-AEP is October 1st to October 14th. The book is all about how you're going to build that season. It's all about how you're going to start that season. But if you wait until AEP to remember which customers need attention or which customers need a review or who hasn't heard from you all year long, you're going to be behind. And your book of business isn't organized before the pre-AEP or the AEP even begins. So don't forget the book to get the book. The link will be in the description. It'll help you. It gives you dates. It gives you the key dates, gives you the timeline to do your email sequence to the customer. And it also gives you the actual templates that you can use to prepare your customers for what's coming up. All right, let me go on with the third reason why you have mistakes that fail. The pre-AEP annual review is so special. It's a strategy for retention that's especially important. But hear me clearly. An annual review is not an automatic sales appointment. It's a customer conversation. You're reviewing what changed and what stayed the same and whether the client's current coverage still fits their situation. So you're doing a needs analysis again, you're revamping that to see what's changed for the customer. You're reviewing what's changed with their current plan. And before you meet with that customer, you need to review any current information you have that's available because you want to understand what's going to work better for the customer. If their doctors have changed, if they feel they're not getting the services that they should get, and before this all happens, you may want to be sure that you know the providers in the area so that if you're asked to make some recommendations, you're able to do so. Study the providers. Know who's accepting new customers. Know how they work. Know if they work with larger hospital organizations or if they're independent practices. All of these little tidbits of information is what going to help you to keep that relationship with the customer. Now, I'd like for you just to remember from this video, the start, which is day 0, the day your application is done, that's when you're going to start your follow-up process, because you're going to tell the customer what to expect as a post-enrollment actions. Then you're going to diary in some way in your CRM, in your calendar, on your notes, or someplace you're going to keep track of 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days later. That's when you're going to reach out in some way, a text, a call, an email, a newsletter, whatever. You're going to reach out those days of the year, and then you're going to come up to the annual review, which starts October 1st for them, and keep that follow-up going throughout the year. Now, the way that you can make this practical, and I really don't care if you use a spreadsheet or CRM, a paper calendar, a notebook, or any other method that you use to track all of this, use what works for you. I'm not trying to sell a system. What I'm trying to tell you is use something that's going to help you to be able to follow up. When is the day 30 service check? When is the day 60 educational touch? When is the 90-day relationship review? When should you start your annual Medicare review? When your next action is coming, are you able to keep track of when that is? So I hope that you're able to get something out of this that's going to help you to be organized this year. And of course, for those of you who may not know, I'm Faye and I sell Medicare plans. Join my school community for more additional trainings. Get the book. All of those will be in the description below. And if there's anything that I can help you with there, you have a couple of choices. You can do a 90-minute intensive or a 4-week one-on-one custom personalized accelerated program to work on anything specific that you'd like to work on. Thank you again for being with me.